Welcome back, everybody, to River Ave Radio. We got a second episode this week. My name is Ryan. I got Kyle with me today. How you doing?
I'm doing great. WBC is ongoing as we speak. Japan has absolutely obliterated Taiwan. Cuba is currently beating Panama. The Ranger Suarez gave up a run to the Netherlands. Baseball's really back, man. It's great to be here.
Surrendering runs to Didi and friends,
It's
and I'm and
shameless.
I'm I'm told to be scared of this
They
rotation.
gave they gave him $100 million. I could give up runs to Didi Gregorius if they gave me $100 million. It's not impressive.
Well, speaking of some divisional rivals, we got the episode about the Orioles today. Long awaited. We're very excited. We got some good notes coming up. Kyle, tell me overall how you feeling about the or actually first of all, before we start, we just want to remind everyone like, subscribe, leave a comment, download, whatever your platform you're seeing this on, please just interact. And yeah, Kyle, how you feeling about the Orioles overall?
I think we have slightly differing opinions on this. I think we both agree that the Orioles of the AL East teams have probably the highest ceiling and also the lowest floor. You're kind of more on the side that they'll go towards the ceiling, and I'm more on the side that they're going to trend towards their floor. Overall, I'm definitely not as scared of the Orioles as I am of, say, the Red Sox or the Blue Jays. And even the Rays, I think, have some players that are more interesting than some of these Orioles players. But I think you'd be foolish to say that the Orioles are going to 100% be a bad team.
Yeah, I think you'd be foolish to say either way at this point. I think their lineup is going to be good either way. I think it really just depends on the pitching. The bullpen is a little, I would say, probably the most suspect of the three groups. And the pitching, we'll see. A lot of, let's just get right into it. We will start with the hitting today. We're going to start with the lineup. And the first person we're going to talk about is the Orioles franchise player, Gunnar Henderson, who was not the player that he normally is in the past year, but still, people are counting him out, and you shouldn't. His down year, his struggle year, was consisting of 4.8 FWAR, 120 WRC plus, and a 788 OPS. Those are really, really good numbers, above average numbers. And it was revealed earlier in January before the World Baseball Classic that he was playing through a left shoulder injury all season, and apparently it was really inhibiting him. So I am expecting a full return to form. Projection systems are expecting a full return to form. Kyle, I'm sure you are as well, but do you have any thoughts about Gunnar Henderson?
My opinion on Gunnar Henderson is shaped by the fact that I took him with the 12th pick in our fantasy draft last year, and he was just absolutely fucking dog shit.
He had like a negative WRC plus against lefties for a while.
It was really, really bad for a little while, and then even when it got good, relatively to this negative WRC plus against lefties he had early in the season, he never really got back to fantasy relevant,
Uh
which
huh.
really killed me. But in a real baseball sense, he was good last year. Like a 4.8 F4 season is probably the best season of most baseball players' career, or well above their best season.
Yeah.
And he's still nearly at an 800 OPS. He was still 20% above league average hitter. And I think that all of like the underlying numbers in terms of exit velos are good, but he was having some trouble lifting the ball in the air. That's something that can be kind of hard to get back just because it's a new season. Like I wouldn't necessarily expect, oh, like it's a new year, like he'll just magically be able to hit the ball over the fence again. But I also wouldn't count him out on that front. His speed was also kind of underrated last year. He did steal a lot of bases. We play in a points league, so that doesn't really matter. But he was kind of expanding that aspect of his game that he already had in his bag from the minor leagues, but really hadn't brought to the major league level as much. So I think that there is kind of that MVP gunner form definitely still in there. He's very young still. But I think, like with the Orioles, high ceiling, not a low floor for Gunnar Henderson, but low floor relative to the top three MVP finisher season that he had in 2024, maybe.
Yeah, all projection systems basically have him around the same, like 130, 135 WRC plus type player. Fangraphs has him as a 6'4" player next year, so we're not alone in thinking that he's going to return. And, like Kyle was saying, that's not the MVP player that we were, expecting coming into last year, and it's probably not the MVP player that some people are expecting going into this year, but that's 30%, 35% better than league average, and usually projections undercut players a little bit, so you can expect him to be a little bit better than that, and I do as well. I think, I think that left shoulder. I'm interested to see how he does in the World Baseball Classic because he's a negative 24 WRC plus in spring training so far. But yeah,
Spring training doesn't matter, but
spring
again, I
training
think
doesn't matter
that
until it does,
yeah, the
until I want it to.
Orioles last year were basically entirely reliant on him being an MVP if they wanted to make like a playoff push. But this year, their lineup definitely has some reinforcements. I think the most interesting is obviously Pete Alonso. You're taking a bona fide like 40 homer in a year guy and just putting him right into your lineup in place of like Ryan Mountcastle, who's had some productive seasons in the majors, but is nowhere near Pete Alonso's type of guy.
He's also going to hit so many home runs in Camden, dude. It's unfair. It's genuinely, it's going to make me so mad. Um, yeah, there's just to cover Pete Alonso real fast. There's really not much to be said about him that isn't known. He just absolutely hits the seams out of baseballs every single time, and people people undersell his contact ability. It's average. It's nothing to write home about, but it's nothing that's not Stantonian or Gallo like. But he is really, really bad at defense. He killed Kodai Senga this year,
Another guy on
as
my fantasy team.
Kyle well knows. If you guys haven't figured out, Kyle was like the elbow killer in our fantasy league last year. So if one of your team's pitchers, if you're coming in from another fan base, if one of your team's pitchers is on the IL, they're probably on Kyle's fantasy team. But Kyle, anything to add on Pete Alonso?
Yeah, I mean, the first base defense, wow, doesn't really matter until it does. Like, we had a couple really awful first base defenders on the Yankees. Like, I don't know if you were really paying attention when, like, Luke Voigt was booting the ball every
Mm-hmm.
day. But it does matter. Like, it doesn't grade out as much because, like, the ball just doesn't really get hit to them.
He made a really bad play during the Subway Series.
Yeah. He just booted into the dugout or whatever.
Yeah, let up a
And
run. They lost the game,
it doesn't if
and
the
then they
the
missed the
metrics
playoffs.
don't really account for like scoops and blocks when the ball gets thrown to them. Pete, by all accounts, is actually pretty good at that relative to his atrocious just regular defense when the ball is actually hit to him.
Mm-hmm.
So they're not getting him for his defense. Like they
Yeah.
don't care. They know that his defense sucks. They don't give a shit. The Mets pretended like they gave a shit, but really they just didn't want to pay him
Do you
for.
think they'll have him DH?
I don't think so. We're gonna get there because I think Basayo is gonna be the primary DH.
Hmm.
But we'll get back to that later. Sam Basayo is probably the second most interesting piece on this team to me.
Yeah, me too.
But yeah, Pete Alonso is gonna be a great player. I think it'll probably make Gunnar in front of him better. I assume Pete Alonso is gonna be hitting third and Gunnar's gonna be hitting second.
Fangraphs has Taylor Ward hitting second, which is
And do
so
they have
weird.
Gunnar leading off?
They have they have Gunner leading off, Taylor hitting second, Pete Alonso hitting third, Adley hitting fourth, Dylan Beavers hitting fifth, Colton Cowser hitting sixth, Blaze Alexander hitting seventh because
Oh,
Jackson Holliday's on IL, and
it's not
Basayo
great.
hitting eighth, Mayo hitting ninth.
If they lead off Gunnar, I would probably see them batting Ward second, so Alonso could be third. But I assume they'll put Jackson Holiday back at the leadoff spot when he's healthy, even if he's not very good.
Yeah.
But
He
we'll see.
really wasn't very good
No,
last
he's
year.
not. People compare it, like Orioles fans. Do you know that one Orioles fan who's like, "Oh, he's way better than Jazz Chisholm, bro"? Like,
Dude,
it's fucking crazy.
it's ridiculous. Jazz hate is unbelievable. Like, it's out of control. It's genuinely unbelievable.
There's a certain demographic of people that
Yeah.
tend to hate on him. But I think that Taylor Ward is kind of in a similar boat with Pete Alonso, where he's a bit one-dimensional. I'm not entirely sure how his fielding grates out. I'm looking. It's about average. His arm sucks, but his range is literally directly average, 0 fielding run value last year.
Hmm.
So, or sorry, 0 outs above average. I am not like super moved by the Taylor Ward trade. I think it's interesting. They really didn't give up much to get him. I have no faith in Grayson Rodriguez being a productive major leaguer with his health issues and him being developed now by the Angels.
Yeah.
So, not exactly like they really are going to miss Grayson, but I think he's not a difference maker. I don't know if you have a different opinion.
I think he. All right, so here's the thing. So the Angels had like a sneaky good power lineup last year, right? They were fourth in home runs, second in barrel rate, and Taylor Ward is really good at doing that. He's elite at barreling the ball, 84th percentile barrel rates with elite strike zone control. So he has 92nd percentile chase rates and 82nd percentile walk rates. So he strikes out a lot, and that's because he's really, really bad against off-speed and breaking pitches, but he's really, really elite against fastballs. So, in zone contact on fastballs, in zone contact, he makes 86.5% Z zone contact rate. So, when you're throwing it in the zone against Taylor Ward, he's probably going to make contact. And as he has poor bat speed, he's a very confusing player when you're looking at the data. He's just someone who sees the ball very well, and makes you throw it in the zone. And when he sees his pitch, he's going to destroy it. And that's why he was really good at barreling the ball last year. You know, he helped the Angels hit a lot of home runs last year. Strikes out a lot, poor bat speed. He's a pull hitter. I'm sure they acquired him because they moved the wall back in left field. He's a righty. So yeah, if Gunner's leading off, you know, it's a good option to hit behind him. But again, I'm not super moved. I mean, he's just don't throw fastballs to him.
Yeah, he'll be productive. It's kind of like what you're saying. Like, he has a pretty elite chase percentage, so he's not going to swing outside the zone. When he does swing it in the zone, if it's a fastball, he's probably going to crush it. He does have a pretty low batting average. Like, obviously, batting average doesn't really matter if he's slugging the shit out of the ball, but he's kind of one-dimensional. Like, I'm sure this is going to lead to a lot of frustrating moments for the Yankees where he just hits like a 3-run bomb in the second inning or something.
Mm-hmm.
But it's fine. Like, I'm not. He's still able to be struck out. Like, the Yankees kind of play well against these types of guys. Pete Alonso, I am interested to see like what Taylor Ward's like stats against the Yankees are, because I'm sure we've played him a decent amount. I'm looking on StatMuse right now.
Yeah,
it's
with
the same
the
with Pete
Angels.
Alonso. Wow, we actually own Taylor Ward. Taylor Ward has a 165 batting average and only 2 home runs in 25 games played against the Yankees.
All right, well that's encouraging.
So we haven't played him a ton in the last. Actually, that's not true at all. I just had to scroll down. In the entire last season, we played the Angels a bunch. Wow, I did not realize we played the Angels 7 times last year. He had 3 hits. So, small sample. I'm not reading too much into it, but
Yeah.
we own Taylor Ward. Pete Alonso, on the other hand, he's had a lot of good moments against the Yankees. I don't know what his specific stats are. I'm looking that up now as well. Yeah,
I'm
he has a lot of
annoyed that
homers.
he's an Oriole. Like that's going to result in a lot of frustrating moments, and I'm sure he's going to walk us off at some point.
Pete Alonso has hit 11 home runs in 32 games versus the Yankees, so he's hit a bunch of home runs. I'm sure he enjoys hitting in Yankee Stadium as well, just as he will enjoy hitting in Baltimore. But that's okay. We can move on a little bit. I want to actually go on our notes. We have Adley Rutschman next, but I want to go to the other catcher first.
Yeah.
Samuel Basallo, because I think he is probably the biggest wild card on this team, and you could say that for all of these players. Like, the Orioles just have a lot of things that could go very well or very poorly.
This is such a high variance team. We were talking about the Marlins the other day, but we were talking about the Marlins outfield being, I think, like having like the biggest range of outcomes. But I think the Orioles as a general team probably have them beat, just with. This team could either be, I mean, top of the league, elite, or just bottom of the barrel. Rays are finishing out ahead of them. Also, I'm sorry if you keep hearing that flopping. It's my English Mastiff, Delilah, shaking, and because we're getting our house painted, so I have her next to me. But anyways, Samuel
Basayo
Basayo.
is, I think, going to be a pretty great player. He has
Yeah.
absolutely like top of the line bat speed numbers. If you look at his numbers from last year, he came up last year like later into the season. Orioles were bad. His numbers are truly awful. Like 216 expected batting average, 378 expected slug. Didn't really hit the ball super hard. Didn't really barrel the ball up. Chase struck out. Every bad thing that can happen, Samuel Basayo was doing it. That being said, his bat speed is absolutely elite. He obliterated the minor leagues.
He had 151 WRC plus in AAA last year. Like,
Yeah,
that's
and that was
insane.
legit. That
Yeah.
wasn't like quadruple A, really good at hit, like Estevan Florial, 150
Hmm.
WRC plus. He's super young. He's 21 years old. He's kind of been great at everything in his career, and like you can't look at these numbers and be like, oh, he just sucks. Like when Judge came up in 2016, you could be like, wow, that guy sucks. He's never gonna do anything in this league. He had like 168 his rookie year.
He struck out all the time.
I'm not really concerned about Basayo's overall performance last year. He's a top 10 prospect in baseball for a reason. His defense is a little bit suspect, but that's kind of offset by having Adley Rutschman on the team, who I think plays good defense. Is that
We'll
true?
circle back to
I don't want to
that.
get too into it, but he
Yeah.
plays good he generally does play good defense. So Basayo will likely be their DH on a regular basis, playing catcher when Adley gets a rest day. But they already gave him an extension. They gave him an 8-year extension, so clearly the Orioles believe in the talent, even though he's done nothing at the major league level so far. I am of the belief that Basayo is going to be a problem this year. At least, maybe not at the very beginning of the year, like maybe he does take a little bit more to adjust. But at some point this year, I think it's going to start clicking. And maybe he doesn't figure everything out this year. Like, even Bobby Witt recently took a full year in the majors to really become the superstar that he is now. But I think that he'll at least figure out one dimension of his game, most likely the power. And that'll give the Orioles really three bona fide 40 homer guys. And I feel comfortable putting Basayo in that like 40 home run power
Yeah.
type tier.
He is hitting quite well in spring training so far, which, again, means nothing. But it's a good sign that he's not. I mean, he went from he's hitting back at what he normally does. He's hitting at a 153 WRC plus in spring training so far, 471 on base, a 500 slug. So I mean, he's not going to be doing that all year, but it's you can see that he is already making adjustments. He's walking a lot more. So that control of the strike zone that you weren't seeing last year, you're seeing now. You're seeing the power with the highest slugs. So yeah, again, I'm not going to look into 2 months when the Orioles were kind of just bringing him up to say get some major league reps when they were a below 500 team and when he was 20. I'm not going to look into that and write him off by any means. And again, they gave him a lot of money for a reason, and he's huge. He's 6'4", but
He's a big boy.
he's
They
pretty
they
skinny
have
though.
him at 180 pounds
Yeah,
on Baseball Savant, by the way. That is just simply not true.
I don't believe that. I don't.
He'd be built like a twig.
How I was wow voice crack. How skinny? How much do you think Michael weighs? We have a really skinny friend who's
We have
about that.
we have a tall friend who he's not
Who's
even
about that?
6'4" though, but he weighs less than
He's
180.
he's 6'4".
No way, he's 6'4".
He's like 6'2".
Sean's 6'4".
Sean's skinny too.
Sean's tiny. But anyway,
Yeah,
respect
moving
to.
on.
Sorry, we're getting distracted by talking about our friends here. All of our friends are taller than us, except for the
Yeah,
ones we talk about baseball with. All of them are
yeah.
shorter than us. But regardless, there's no way he's
Hi guys.
180 pounds. He's a big boy. He has some like, and he has room to kind of physically mature. Like I doubt that this is the strongest
Yeah.
he's gonna be. And if you are, let's take the 180 pounds obviously with a grain of salt, but say he's on the skinnier side relatively. He will add muscle as he gets deeper into his 20s, and if he's already having like a 75 mile per hour average bat speed here, he's gonna be like just crazy,
Hmm.
hitting the shit out of the ball every time. So
Yeah, and I obviously we talk about him a lot, but Ben Rice was like super skinny in 2024, and then came up in 2025 and bulked up a lot, and was already and same thing was already flashing the power that we're seeing, and then just came up and even still was getting really unlucky, but flashed even more power than he had the year before. So
From what I understand, when you're like going up through the minors, like there's obviously a lot to work on. So you really don't have a ton of time to be just like working out in the gym all the time because
mhm.
you got to like figure out your swing. He's a catcher, like he's got to figure out how to play defense and like deal with the pitching staff. And once he kind of gets into that rhythm at the major league level, it seems like he will be able to kind of focus more on physically developing himself. And I am kind of concerned for our own sakes when
This
that
is what I'm
happens.
saying about like this lineup. Like I think the higher percentile outcome is just objectively more likely, and it the pitching is going to be good enough to keep them in games and keep them in the division race. Like, dude, I just last year just permanently altered my view of baseball. I was always of the belief that you got to win every game and you got to play every game like it's in August, but it's different when you lose when everything that happened last year. I mean, I just think it would have gone so differently if we had been hosting the ALDS game 1, and literally you can pick any number of the games that were lost for such ridiculous reasons and say, oh, we should have won that one. And anyone that the Orioles are going to take away from us is because it's going to be a dogfight with the Jays and probably the Red Sox this year as well. Like the Red Sox aren't going to be out of it like they were last year. And who knows? Maybe the Orioles might be at the top of that as well. I mean, there could be four. We were talking about this yesterday. There could be four AL East teams in the playoffs next year. That's not unrealistic to say. So
Let's move
this
on
is it's just
to
not going to be a fun year
Adley
for us.
now.
But yeah, Adley has had struggles since 2024. He has had some injury problems, been up and down, through AAA and stuff like that, and really just has not been able to put it back together, either on offense or on defense. His defense is actually also getting considerably worse. But so overall, he had a 91 WRC plus in 2025, which isn't, it's below average, and he's like I said, he's battling with lingering injuries. He has elite control of the strike zone. He has 88th percentile chase rates, 94th percentile whiff rates. He's 83rd percentile strikeout rates and 80th percentile walk rates. So all around really good. But his batted ball data is just subpar through and through. He doesn't have good hard hit rates. He doesn't have good barrel rates. He doesn't have good xWOBA, xBA, anything like that. Average exit velocity. He is just, the power is really not there since 2023 when he was really good at that kind of thing. And his bat speed has just continuously gone down. This year, he didn't qualify for it, but his average bat speed was 70.1 miles per hour, which is not good at all. So, and his defense, he was in the 76th percentile in framing run value, which is really good. But his blocking ability has gone down significantly from 10 run value in 2024 to 2 run value in 2025. So the blocking ability is just not what it used to be. All around, he really is just not the player that the Orioles want and need him to be. And there's a lot of extra pressure on him this year with, Samuel Basallo got this huge extension. And, if Basallo can figure it out on defense and, figure it out offensively like we expect him to.
Get ready to learn Chinese, buddy.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, like they're not going to keep a young 21-year-old stud in the DH spot for no reason, especially if, we'll talk about some of their injured players returning later, but with players returning from injury, they're not going to keep Pete Alonso at first base mucking shit up.
Yeah.
I was trying not to curse and say effing it up, but I did it anyways. And they're not going to keep him at the DH spot if they don't have to, and if Adley is still just stinking it up. So, TikTok, Mr. Rutschman, TikTok. Do you have anything to add on that?
Yeah, I mean, he had a 670 OPS last year. He just wasn't good. Oh my God, it's ruined. It's all over. Uh, his to be fair, like blocks above average and like outs above average are cumulative, and like he didn't play a ton of games last year relative to his other seasons. I think that if he played more games, he probably would have increased his like blocking and framing numbers. But if he can't hit, they're just not gonna hang on to him. Like he's a valuable player in the sense of like being a good hitting catcher. We talked about this a ton with Austin Wells. Like being a good hitting catcher is not required in this league. Like you really just have to be a good defender, and that gives you enough value to be on a major league team. But like you were saying, like if Samuel Basayo can figure out the defense, they really don't need him. But I'd find it hard for them to believe that they'd give up on him this year or even next year. Like if he repeats his 2025 season, I'd be pretty shocked if they got rid of him. Like he's former first overall pick in the draft, number one prospect in baseball. He's had great years in the past, and it's kind of unclear like what is causing these struggles. And I would be surprised if they would cut bait on him. I'm sure they would get like a decent package back. Like if they wanted to trade him right now, I'm sure he still has value. It's like people who say like Austin Wells doesn't have value. Like if you have juice in the tank offensively and you're a good defender, you're very valuable on an MLB team. But the bat speed is kind of concerning to me. We don't have bat speed data going back uh, into like his minor league years, but you can look back at like his 2023, which was his best year, and his bat speed wasn't anything special there. Like he was 23rd percentile, so he's never been like an elite raw power bat speed guy. But it doesn't make me feel like confident that he's going to return to this elite player if he doesn't have those kind of underlying numbers.
His pull rates are also going down. If you look at so in 2022 it was 20.6, in 2024 23.2, and then last year it was 16.9.
Hmm.
So
And
we'll
like
see.
maybe that's an injury thing. Like
Dude,
maybe it's just
did you
messing
see
up his
like
swing.
I was, and that's the thing. Like I remember watching video, and this is eye test, and you really can't go off this. But I was watching videos of him in AAA, and his swing just looks so messed up. Like I don't know if I just don't know if the power that he was able to find is ever going to come back. But I mean, at the end of the day, like if he can figure out if he can get back to the level that he was defensively and maybe improve his hitting a little bit, maintain that control of the strike zone, then they're not going to get rid of him, and he still has trade value. But I do think that, and not to say that like defensive catchers aren't valuable, but I do think that Austin Wells hitting at 100 WRC plus in a lineup of elite hitters, and Adley Rutschman hitting at a 91 WRC plus, and in a lineup of potentially really good hitters,
Yeah.
it's different. Like
Let's mention.
they need Adley so much more than we
Yeah.
need Wells to be good.
Yeah,
Like
I would
Wells
agree.
being good would be like, oh dude, really nice.
I think that's because of the rest of this lineup, which we can get into
Yeah.
here. I think somebody interesting that we actually don't have on the note sheet to mention real quick is Dylan Beavers. He's
Mm-hmm.
their number two prospect right now. He had an 120 OPS plus last year, but his underlying numbers aren't great. Like he had very small sample to get that 120 OPS plus, but he hits the ball in the air and he was walking a lot, which is encouraging if you're an Orioles fan. Like you want to see your guy come up and have a control of the strike zone, and it's relatively, I'd say, all right to believe in this guy. I don't think he's gonna have an 120 OPS plus next year, but I wouldn't be surprised if he's an above average hitter. He's also super duper fast. He has 90th percentile sprint speed, and his defense grades out as perfectly average. So he'll be a productive player in that outfield. And Taylor Ward is obviously going to take up one of those outfield spots, but other than that, like Cedric Mullins is gone. Obviously, he wasn't great last year by any means for the Orioles, but he was a
He
consistent
was
piece in
he
that
was better than he
outfield.
was on the Mets.
That's not saying much. I was better than Cedric Mullins last year on the Mets. Uh, so I think that it'll be an interesting watch to see how he develops. Jackson Holliday, also another former struggling number one overall prospect. I think it's too early to really count him out. Like Adley's had a couple seasons where he's been a problem. And like Jackson Holiday is still super young.
So here's my thing with Jackson Holiday. He didn't really do anything too impressive last year except for his chase rates and his squared up rates, which to me says that he is seeing the ball really well. He's just having some trouble maybe figuring it out and, making swing decisions and things like that. So I think, he's not only is he a former, number whatever overall prospect, he was a really high ranked overall.
He was number one.
Oh yeah,
and he was the number one pick in the draft.
Holiday? Oh yeah,
Yeah.
he was. Yeah, and he comes from a baseball family. Matt Holliday was a Yankee, and he's just kind of got that pedigree about him, and so I think it's unreasonable to count anyone out of that status super early, but especially someone who has shown that he has some control of the strike zone and can make some good swing decisions. But it was not a great year last year. His defense wasn't good either. I think it's just
he didn't do anything well last year.
It's just going to be, he's young. He's really young, and I remember in 2024 when they made the playoffs, they gave him like the baby bird basket with like apple juice in it and whatever, because he wasn't 21 yet. So he's still very young. He's bulked up a lot in the last year or so. So it'll be interesting to see.
But he's starting the year injured.
Yes, he is. Yeah, important to note. Tyler O'Neill, Jackson Holiday, and Jordan Westberg will both be starting the year on the IL, which is a big hit to the Orioles infield because they're going to have Blaze Alexander starting at second base in
Diamondbacks legend.
So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see what Jackson Holiday can put together this year. And that's what I'm saying. Like I'm not counting any of these guys out. And if you're not counting them out, then you're at least expecting them to be good a little bit. So right now, like if you're looking at the depth chart, Gunnar Henderson will rebound. Taylor Ward will be someone who will probably see a lot of fastballs if he's hitting in front of Pete Alonso because they're going to want to throw it in the zone. He crushes fastballs. Then you got Pete Alonso hitting third, Adley hitting fourth. Let's say Adley doesn't put it together. You got probably Samuel Basayo hitting fourth. Dylan Beavers hitting fifth. Colton Cowser has some juice. Kobe Mayo has maybe some juice. I don't know. I'm not a big believer, but he hit a couple home runs last year. Like he's got some power.
He sucks.
Yeah, he sucks. But this is like so. But then you got Jordan Westberg and Jackson Holiday coming back. Jackson Holiday, you're expecting better things from this year. Jordan Westberg, you're expecting at least major league average play. So this is a deep lineup with some stars at the top. Like this could be one of the best lineups in baseball.
The bottom gets really bad though. Like who the hell is there like 7, 8, 9 right now? Like especially
right
with
now.
the injuries. For depending on how fast these guys come back, like this is a bad offense. With like basically 5 through 9. Like their top 4 hitters, you could really only say their top 3 hitters are guaranteed to be productive major league hitters. Like you don't know what you're going to get out of Basayo, you don't know what you're going to get out of Adley Rutschman.
Yeah.
And I think there's something funny that I've noticed when looking at this trend. When I've been looking obviously at like a bunch of Savant pages when we're talking about this, they need a new base running coach because Dylan Beavers, 90th percentile sprint speed, bad base running value. Jackson Holiday, high sprint speed, bad base running value. Adley Rutschman, low sprint speed, bad base running value. Like none of these guys can run the bases for shit. And like we get on the Yankees for this all the time, and it's a fair criticism. But like holy shit, like they need a new base running coach so bad. Like I've never seen so many people who are in the top 10% of running fast be bad at running the bases.
Yeah, it's a good point.
That being said, I think that Tyler O'Neill is a funny one to mention.
I just wanted to bring that up real fast. Hilarious signing. 3 years, $50 million, bench piece.
He's bad.
So
he like maybe he has some juice. Like he's always had injury problems in his career. He was objectively very good with the Red Sox that one year that he was with them. But I don't know, like his expected stats aren't that bad. He just was hurt like most of the year. If he goes back to having like a 750 OPS in a platoon role, Obviously, that's not worth the like 17 million a year they're paying him. It's hilarious that they gave him that much to begin with, but I wouldn't be surprised if he's like at least a little productive.
Yeah,
Another guy with high sprint speed, terrible base running value, by the way.
you may have a point there.
I'm looking up who their base running coach is. Like, base running coach, Orioles, coaching staff. I assume it would be the first base coach that'd be doing it.
Maybe they should hire the Mets coach that everybody was all
Jason
mad they fired.
Bourgeois. Nice last name. But yeah, they got to get rid of you, bro. It's over. Also, was Craig Albernas the guy who got promoted after their manager got fired, or is he a new manager? I don't remember.
Um, I'm actually not sure.
Either way, first full season with this
Yeah,
manager. It'll be interesting to see what they have. I think
but
we've done enough
I
on
was just
the
gonna say
offense.
let's
Let's
move
get
on to
into
the
the
pitching.
pitching. I'm going to talk real quick about the bullpen because there's basically three guys that are important to know. And that first, Ryan Helsley, probably aware, was the closer for the Cardinals. He was great. He throws so hard. He's averages like more than 100 miles per hour when he's really going for it. Sub 700 OPS against when he was with the Cardinals, got traded to the Mets, and just absolutely farted himself. I want to say. I'm trying to
Stunk.
swear less. He was so bad. Like he just was unpitchable entirely. I'd say single-handedly cost them a spot in the playoffs
Without a
last
doubt.
year.
And Mets, like, it was just poetic, like, how many Mets fans were making fun of Devin Williams in, like, April just for it to happen. Like, my cousin is a big Mets fan, and he used to send me, like, Devin Williams memes all the time. And then around August, it just stopped.
He last year in just his time with the Mets, he almost put up -1 WAR as a reliever. Like that is genuinely
That's
hard to do.
incredible.
Relievers have a hard time putting up and losing WAR. So in 20 innings, losing almost a full win, which by the way is the exact margin they missed the playoffs by, is funny. The Orioles gave him like kind of a bag. It's been speculated that it was a pitch tipping issue basically the whole time. It
Yeah.
seems hard for me to believe that he would immediately go to the Mets and this pitch tipping stuff would become like a problem when it wasn't when he was with the Cardinals. So
Well, I don't know. I mean, it could have been a thing with, like, his grip that the Mets told him to do something differently, and it wasn't working.
it's possible.
Like,
But
I
like the
remember
Mets have
hearing him talking a lot about saying he just wanted to get back to what worked for him and stuff like that. He was trying to make something else work, and it wasn't.
yeah. He went from an 138 ERA plus to a 57 when he
Dude,
was with the
that's
Cardinals versus the Mets.
absurd.
But I think you'd be foolish to say that he'll 100% be bad. I think he, like
I think
everybody
he'll be
else,
good.
high variance guy. You don't really know what you're going to get from him, but the stuff was still there. It was not a stuff problem last year with the Mets. He was still throwing hard. He was getting crushed. So he's going to be the closer on opening day. I think that like the rest, I keep saying this, like the rest of the roster, you don't know what you're going to get out of him. Like there's a bunch of injuries in the lineup, so who knows if they're going to have leads going in. But if they do, probably would be relatively slim margins. You're going to need him to be good, especially at the beginning of the year, because you don't know how many leads you're going to have with like basically half of their middle of the lineup out for the beginning of the year.
They also have a lot of relievers on the IL right now. Like,
Yeah.
basically their whole bullpen.
Felix
Everyone of
Bautista
substance.
is their main closer, like he has been elite for them in the past, but he's had pretty serious injury problems. He got major surgery last year. It's unclear if he'll be back in the first place, and if he does come back, when it will be. He has started throwing again, which is a good sign for him coming back at some point this year. But you don't know what you're going to get out of him. He's really had like one elite year, and then other than that, he's been productive to slightly below average. He throws really hard, and he's had a lot of stuff with his shoulder. I'm pretty sure he had like a rotator cuff repair. Like that's really scary for
Yep.
a fireballer. But Andrew Kittredge, I'd say, is one of their best signings. He was like kind of sneaky elite last year out of the Cubs bullpen. He kind of took over their closer role towards the end of the year, and even in the playoffs with Palencia, the Cubs closer, kind of struggling. Fantasy baseball and my team legend again.
I can't
I
wait.
injured him.
We're drafting in like 2 weeks, and it's gonna be a shit
I
show.
kill
on
everything
this,
I touch.
everything going. Like, Kyle and I are gonna be a lot less friendly after that.
Like, if I told you to guess who had the best chase percent in baseball over the last decade, Andrew Kittredge would not be the name
Yeah.
that you would give me. If you told me that Andrew Kittredge was your first guess, you are lying. But it's true. He has the best chase percent in baseball for basically the last 10 years. He's 35 years old, so he's not getting any younger,
Hmm.
but he's not really relying on his fastball velocity. He has an excellent, excellent slider that clearly works because everyone's swinging on it outside of the zone. He still has got that juice, man, and I would not be surprised. Like, I know they've said that Helsley's going to be the closer, but like I think like one or two blown saves and they're just throwing Kittredge back there and having Helsley figure it out in a lower leverage role.
Yeah, I agree. But I do think if Helsley doesn't figure it out immediately, like that's going to happen at some point in the year. And I do think Helsley is going to be the closer going into, if not the playoffs, then the playoff race
Yeah.
for sure. But that is interesting about Kittredge. That's
He's kind of that guy, and he's been on a
I'm
lot
still
of
got it.
AL East teams. Like I remember him being annoying when he was on the Rays as
Hmm.
well. So coming back to haunt us here,
Everyone on the Rays is annoying, dude.
Yenier Cano is their fourth guy and last guy I want to highlight here. He has shown some juice. Like he had really like one truly incredible half season, and then it kind of all not I want to say fell apart, but he has not been the same guy after that. He had nearly a 1.5 WHIP last year, which is just atrocious. Like that's nearly unplayably bad. But he still has elite ground ball numbers, so he can kind of get away from that. Like he gets a lot of double play balls, and he's never had a whip that high in his career. So I assume that'll normalize to maybe like a 1-2 or a 1-3, which isn't great, but if you're getting a ton of ground balls, like you can work around that. He was their closer for a while last year because their bullpen and everything else on their team was just so beat to hell.
Hmm.
He's not going to be the closer this year, which hopefully will give him some room to breathe. Like they'll be able to put him into more advantageous matchups. And overall, I'd say the Orioles bullpen has some juice, but it doesn't really overly concern me.
Yeah, I mean the rest of this bullpen is, I don't want to say nobody's because they're major leaguers, but in the grand scheme of things, I mean, at the end of the day, whose middle relief guys are well known, but I don't know. And not for nothing, I mean, you see Orioles fans all the time talking about how they need more relievers, and that's, they talk about Elias all the time, not getting relievers. You haven't gotten a reliever. It's the same story every season. So they don't feel good about it. I don't feel good about it.
Yeah. Let's go on to, I think, something pretty interesting, which is their rotation. There's, again, I keep saying it, a lot of weird stuff going on here.
This
So
is the most high variance team in baseball, without a doubt.
Rogers, Trevor Rogers, is going to be their big guy. He was basically the best pitcher in baseball for the 100 innings he threw last year. Like he had below a 2 ERA. And it was only 109 innings, but he still was 97th percentile in pitching run value, which is a cumulative stat. So he was incredible, but he's never thrown more than 120 innings in his career. He gives up a lot of hard contact. Like we saw in the one game where we played against him last year, we really shelled him. We hit like 4 home runs, I think. Giancarlo went deep.
I was there.
Judge, you were there? I didn't even know that. We really owned him in the one game we saw him. The underlying numbers are not like bad by any means. I want to paint the picture like the underlying numbers say he's a bad player, but they weren't great. They were certainly not 2 ERA type underlying numbers. And Stuff Plus really kind of hates most of his pitches. Like he has a 92 overall Stuff Plus, which is bad. Like that's well below average.
Yeah, that's not good at all.
And so I looked at his like batting average on balls in play and left on base stats, and basically the point of that is that if you're having like a pretty low batting average on balls in play, it means you're getting lucky. And if you're leaving more than average runners on base, you're also probably getting unlucky. Obviously, these things are influenced by him, like a pitcher's profile. Like if you're getting a lot of ground balls, like obviously the batting average would be probably lower than if you're giving up a lot of fly balls. And left on base numbers, again, like ground balls probably help with that. But he had a 226 BABIP, which is just absurdly
Yeah,
lucky.
that's
The average is like in the 300s, and he doesn't get like he gives, as I said, like he gives up a lot of hard contact, which means that those kind of BABIP numbers aren't because he's great, it's because he's lucky. And 84% left on base rate is also extremely lucky. Like the average is in the 70s. So I'm not saying he's gonna be bad. I think obviously like he overperformed last year. I think any reasonable, even Orioles fan would say that he's not gonna be a 2 ERA guy. But he will probably still be good. But I'd be interested to see if he has like an innings limit attached to him. He's had pretty severe injury history. It's not like he was pitching 120 innings because they didn't want him to throw more because he was bad, which he was actually kind of bad for some of his career. But I'm kind of intrigued to see what Rogers is, but I'm not overly concerned about him going into the year.
Yeah, me neither. We absolutely destroyed him going into that matchup, and I feel like I remember we were all us and our friends. We were talking about that game going into it. Like that was the obvious Rogers regression game. Like he's this guy who gives up super hard contact. Gets snagged out of the air by the defenders, and here you are coming into this team that just absolutely destroys baseballs, and that's what they did. And I mean, he just got absolutely rocked that night. It was ridiculous. Giancarlo Stanton just,
He owns him.
yeah, my beloved. But
Another low inning guy that is also kind of like on that will he be elite tier is Kyle Bradish. Shout out Kyle, my boy. He's thrown 70 combined innings the last 2 years, so another guy that just really doesn't have the innings on that arm. But he ran nearly a 40% strikeout rate. He had a 37% K rate in a limited sample last year. So he's also probably going to be innings limited, but his off-speed stuff is just undeniably pretty incredible. The stuff models actually hate his fastball, which I thought was surprising. Like when I think Kyle Bradish, like as a non-Orioles fan, as somebody who only watches him a couple times a year, I thought like kind of electric fastball guy, but that's just not true. He's really a slider guy.
hmm.
He also was running a super high left on base percentage. His BABIP was pretty normal, but so I'm not expecting as much regression as I would with Tyler Rogers. But will he be like a 2 ERA guy? I'd say probably not, but I wouldn't be surprised if he's like a very low threes type of guy. And I don't think he's going to run a 37% strikeout rate for the year, but I think he could probably be in like the 30s, which is pretty elite. So if I had to pick one guy that I'm afraid of in this rotation, it would be Kyle Bradish.
I would definitely agree with that. I think everyone else, we'll get to the rest, but I'm not afraid of Rogers at all. I think that Rogers is kind of going to be the thing that holds this team back. Like the reason they were as good in the second half as they were was because Tyler Rogers was just getting so lucky, and it's just not. It's Tyler, Trevor. We've been through this
I
before.
always get confused. It's Tyler Rogers, right?
Uh,
Oh wait, no, it's Trevor.
no, it's Trevor. Yeah, Jack's
My
gonna be
bad.
so
Sorry,
mad
there's
at
a lot
us.
of T. We've had this conversation before, just personally.
Yeah,
But there
we've
are
had it on
so
the show
many
too.
Rogers.
They
and
all
Rogers
played
is
for
with a
orange
T.
teams.
Yeah, and they all play for orange teams. That's
But
not fair. Do you know that? Wait, is there another? Oh
there's
wait, no. Okay.
all right, anyways.
There's 3 Rogers. Only 2 of them are related
Yeah.
though.
Trevor Rogers of the Orioles is, I think, going to regress next year. And so, yeah, I would also pick Bradish. But I'm really not high on Chris Bassett at all.
Yeah,
He's the next
he's
guy we're
probably
going to be
the
talking
3.
about. He wasn't good last year. Like, his overall pitching run value was a -3. And he was serviceable. He made a lot of starts last year. He had a deep pitch mix. He threw 6 different pitches. He threw a wow, oh my God, he threw like 7 different pitches. He threw a lot, and that's kind of his thing. But he's 37 years old. Like at a certain
Wow,
point,
I did not know he was that old.
it can just fall off at any point, and it kind of already has. Like it was not good last year, and also like a deep pitch mix doesn't mean anything when you're got a -6 off speed run value. Like his fastball run value was a 1.
He throws a lot of pitches poorly.
He's a low. He doesn't get strikeouts. He's a low average exit velo, high ground ball, that kind of thing. But like, that's the kind of thing that can turn bad at any time. And I'm really just not high on Bassett at all. There were rumors earlier in the offseason that we were going to sign him, and I just would not happy about that at all. Like I would have rather them throw out. I don't even know. At the like
Elmer Rodriguez.
or like just put Garrett Cole out 2 months early at whatever. But yeah, so I am really not high on Bassett at all. And I'm also you could take the lead on the next one. I'm not high on Shane Baz either.
Yeah, I hate him.
I think this rotation is straight up like not going to be good.
I think Bassett is actually a good signing, not because I think he's going to be great, but we just talked about with their two best pitchers that they probably will have innings limit attached to them. And if nothing else, Chris Bassett will throw at least 170 innings. Will they be great? Yeah, I mean, look at he throws innings. Like you can't deny that he gets on the mound and he will give you like 5 innings.
I'm just saying like he's going to be. Did he just turn 37 or I don't know. He's 37, 38 maybe. Like that could happen. That fall off can happen at any time. Like you're kind of, and again, high variance. Like you're dealing with any range of outcomes at that point. You're just kind of praying.
His underlying numbers to the last like 5 years are like relatively similar enough. Like I really don't think he's gonna be unpitchable next year. I don't think he's gonna be good, but I think he will take the rock and at least give them a chance to win the game.
But I don't think he's going to be like. If I don't know. I mean, I guess it depends on how you feel about Baz and Eflin, but I don't think he's going to be the 3 starter in the rotation.
He's probably trending closer to like a 4 or 5. But again, Shane Baz, who they just acquired from the Rays this offseason, another guy on my fantasy team. Shane Bad has caused more strife in our fantasy league. He caused strife for 3 different teams because he would pick him up because it's like he definitely has some juice in the tank. Oh my God, the White Sox had like 5 home runs off of him, and I lost that week. It was not good. We have like a list of all the times like people get really mad. We have like a crash out list for the fantasy league, and Shane Baz has 3 different crash outs, and I think there's like maybe 25 total for the entire season. So he's running like nearly 20% of all the rage in our entire fantasy league.
So fuck you, Shane.
And and as an Orioles fan, I'd be like cautiously optimistic.
So much to get him.
I'm gonna try and like separate my own personal feelings on how he pitches from like the objective reality of the situation, which is that he could be a very effective pitcher next year. He's going from the worst pitcher's ballpark in baseball to at least one that's not the worst pitcher's ballpark in baseball. He had like nearly a 6 ERA on the road, at home, versus below a 4 on the road. So like pitching in that ballpark, like maybe he's still like relatively young. He's pitched a lot for his age, but like maybe he'll be a little bit better. His velo on the fastball especially is excellent, but he just was varied. Like you'd see one game he'd have like 10 strikeouts in 6 innings, and then the next game he would just absolutely shit his pants. So I don't know.
Cutter is supposed to be like his magic pitch, right?
I'm not sure.
I don't know. Never mind. I don't know that enough to talk about it.
I want to point out that he is a really weird-looking individual. Like that photo, the photo of him that is on
it's like his fantasy profile or whatever.
It's genuinely terrifying. Like I'm sending you the specific image. I'm
looking at it.
Oh, you're looking at it.
It's just like the way it like pixelates. The mustache looks really weird.
Blonde mustache. Yeah. And he's like so red.
He should shave that.
Okay, if you're an Orioles fan listening to this and you're getting mad right now, or just you're like, why? Like you can't look that weird. Please look him up. Just please look up the photo of him that they have in the Orioles hat. You will understand what I'm talking about. The top half of his face is so red, the bottom half is so pale, and it's separated by the most blonde mustache you've ever seen in your life. He's not even ugly in person. That's the funny thing.
No, yeah,
like he looks pretty
every time you see him on the broadcast, it's not what his like profile picture looks like, but
his eyes are like looking at me like he just killed like 7 people in a Waffle House. It's not a good look, Shane. I really think you need to get rid of that mustache and maybe like take the hat off. But like it doesn't make sense. Why would the half of his face that's covered by the hat be red? Wouldn't it be the other half? Like it doesn't make any sense.
All right.
Like, is he wearing? No, I'm not done yet. Is he wearing like? Is he wearing like a mask?
I don't
And
know. Maybe
he's like tanning with a mask
like
on, but he like laid
residual
out in the sun.
COVID tan. It's
Okay,
just permanent.
we can move on now. We can move
All
on now.
right. Zach Eflin.
Zach Eflin, like, he sucked, but I was reading some like Orioles fan coverage of him. His velo is up like a pretty significant amount in spring training, which is a good sign. He was like really hurt last year. Like, I'll give him a pass for his numbers last year. Like, he was genuinely not healthy,
Yeah.
and the team had nothing to play for. Like, I get why he would be bad last year. I'm not saying he's going to be like elite, but I think he could probably be a serviceable like four starter. But again, he's maybe going to be on an innings limit, which like three of their highest upside guys, like besides Shane Baz, like they're all going to be on innings limits, or at least when they get to the playoffs, like I'd be surprised if they're not gassed.
Mm-hmm.
You never know. Like you saw Crochet last year, like he had never thrown like a ton of innings in his career, and he looked incredible in the playoffs. So you never know, but I think that.
Sure.
What are you talking about?
Who here has a Garrett Crochet ceiling?
Well, nobody. But I'm saying, like, just because you didn't throw a ton of innings doesn't mean that you're going to be innings limited and that you're going to be gassed by the end of the year. It just makes it more likely. And Kyle Bradish, like, I'm not saying he's a Garrett Crochet ceiling, but his ceiling's pretty good. Like, I'd say he's...
Yeah.
Like, those
Bradish is definitely
crazy.
the scariest here.
The last guy on the list is probably Dean Kramer. I'm not sure what their, like, minor league depth is, but Dean Kramer, like... He's fine. I feel like the Orioles just the same old thing every single guy. Like he's fine. Like his expected stats are good. He threw a lot of innings last year. He's the only guy in the Orioles last year who's gonna be in the roster this season who actually threw a full season.
He's actually like, I think he should be their like 3 starter.
Yeah.
Where's he on the depth chart? Yeah, he's 6th on the depth chart. This is so weird.
That doesn't really make sense to me. Like he's had good major league seasons. He's also had he's shown flashes of being more than just like a 3 starter. But his command is good, so that gives him a solid floor. They're going to be relying on him to throw innings. Like I don't know if this has been mentioned, but they might want to consider like a 6-man rotation to start the year. Like if the Dodgers can do it, like they can do it.
I mean,
I think
that's what it has it that way on Fangraphs right now, so I have to assume it's at least being considered.
Yeah.
But so Dean Kramer in 2025 had a 95 overall stuff plus and dude, there's so many ads on Fangraphs now, a 101 location plus. So like solid pitches, solid location. I think he's just going to be the guy to kind of lock down that rotation a little bit. So let's kind of looking at the rotation in full scope now. So I think there's going to be a Rogers regression. Bradish will, I think, probably be SP1 by the July or August. I think Kramer probably be like 2 or 3 at that point. So like Bradish, Rogers, Kramer, and then Bassett, Baz, and Eflin kind of all. And I mean Eflin, if Eflin's increased velocity is true, that could be good. But I mean it's just I'm really not super high on Bassett or Baz, and I think that's kind of bringing my opinion of this rotation down as a whole. I don't know about you.
Yeah, I think that where we're at here is that we've said it time and time again. Every single part of this Orioles team is a wild card. We're going to be seeing a lot of different stuff this year from them. It's going to be nothing like it was last year. And I think the team that comes into the year for the Orioles could be very different from the team that we're seeing in July, August, September.
Yeah, I mean they obviously have just so much minor league depth. I mean their prospect farm is, and they were so bad for so long, so they had so many high draft picks, but so their farm is pretty deep, and they always are going to be making trades at the deadline. So if the rotation's bad, and this is the thing though, like it's so easy to just say like, oh, you can just trade for pitching at the deadline. Everyone is trading for pitching at the deadline. Like there's never a year where people are looking for batting help
Yeah. And
more than they're looking for pitching.
their farm is actually not great right now.
Really?
They've kind of exhausted a lot of it. Like they only have 3 top 100 prospects, and one of them is Sam Basayo, who is obviously not going to get moved.
Right.
Dylan Beavers is like top 70, but he's probably gonna he's at the MLB level. Like he probably wouldn't be included in a trade unless it was for a pretty big impact piece. Their only other prospect in the top 100 is Nate George, who's an outfielder, but he's ranked 93rd and he's only at high A. So I don't think they do got a ton of reinforcements coming. They don't have a single pitching prospect in the top 100.
Really?
Like they gotta really hope that these guys pan out. And I'm not saying that's impossible. Like they have a lot of guys that are kind of in the let's see what happens window. So I think it'd be reasonable to assume that one or two of them will hit and be kind of high rolls on that and be pretty good. But they really need these injured guys to come back and be effective. They really need some of their players who were bad last year to bounce back. Like we pointed to Tyler O'Neill as like a joke because his contract sucks, but like they kind of need him to be effective. They need Jackson Holliday to finally show them something.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I don't know if they're going to get that. I think that they're probably the hardest team of this division to predict. At least with like the Blue Jays and the Red Sox, like we kind of have a handle on what's going to happen, even if they do have a lot of decent young players. So overall, if you had to predict a record for the Orioles this year, what would it be?
What was their record last year?
It was bad. It was real bad.
I think probably like around. Okay, this is the thing. Looking at their Fangraphs projections right now, right? They only have one hitter, and it's Blaze Alexander projected for a below 100 WRC plus, right? But they only have one pitcher, Kyle Bradish, who's projected for an ERA under 4. So, like,
wow, they have Rogers. What do they have Rogers at?
Rogers, they have 408.
Wow, that's not good.
Yeah. Like, I and the industry, I think, are aligned. And I think the lineup is going to be good enough to keep them in some games, but I really don't think, I don't know, like the pitching is just not good. Like, if you combined the Red Sox pitching and the Orioles lineup, they'd be a World Series contender.
Yeah.
World Series. They'd probably be the AL favorite. But
I
can't do that.
Point out that
so.
Google, fuck you, by the way. When I looked up Orioles record and like it pulled up the standings chart, it says that the Orioles were 453-7 last year, which I don't know. That seems kind of unlikely.
That does.
Based on my knowledge of baseball, which I think I have a decent amount of, but I don't know. But give me a number. How many wins next year for the Orioles?
I'm gonna go 82 and 82.
Wow.
Or 81 and 81. 81 and 81. Sorry.
That's pretty bad. Like I thought you were high on them.
I was, to be honest, at the start of this episode, I really was. After evaluating this pitching, like this pitching staff is straight up bad. Like it's not.
I think the lineup's bad, which we've gone in like opposite directions.
Yeah, I don't know. Like and that's the thing. Like I don't know. Dude, I think Rogers, and this is the thing. Like Rogers, I think will even out at some point, but I think he's bound to experience some regression to the mean, and like he's gonna have some stinkers. I think at the start of the year when he's kind of figuring it out, and
maybe he's just weird and good.
Maybe, I don't know. Yeah, it's
like
possible.
An 100 inning sample is kind of a lot. I was like expecting him to blow up way before then. But regardless, so you're going exactly at 500. I think a little bit better than that, but I'd give him like 86 wins. I don't think they're going to make the playoffs this year, barring some pretty big steps from a lot of different players. But I think they're set up relatively well for the future. I think the Orioles could be pretty good next year. I think they really need to work on their development, though. Like, they've had a lot of guys be top prospects and then fall off. Like, imagine how upset we'd be if the Yankees had 2 number 1 overall prospects who were also number 1 overall draft picks, and they both were going into the season as they're going into the season as being bad.
Yeah.
Like we hate Volpe, and he was like a number 5 prospect, and he was like the 26th pick or something. Like,
Dude, they have Adley Rutschman projected for 116 WRC plus. Like, that's crazy.
I don't know about all that.
That's a 25% increase. He had a 91.
I don't know about all that.
That's ridiculous. Yeah. All right.
Anyway,
Whatever.
if you're an Orioles fan,
Let
thank
us
you
know.
for watching.
Let us know what you think.
I think you have an exciting team. We obviously are like kind of disrespecting you here, but we'd love to know why you think
I believe
we're
in the
wrong and
upside.
stupid.
I believe in the upside of the lineup. But here's the thing. Like, I think Orioles fans would agree with us on the rotation. Like, I have yet to see any Orioles fans that are like
Some of them are delusional, man.
super okay, yeah. But like, there are. Like, I think when I talk about fan bases in general, like, you just got to look at like the median group. Like, there are crazy negatives, crazy positives on either fan base, and I'm probably one of the crazy positive Yankee fans because I'm sitting here talking about how you can't hit the upside of this pitcher, and I'm talking about Ben Rice getting down ballot MVP votes. So, but
anyway,
again, that's not that
thank you everybody for watching. If you loved it, leave a comment. If you think we're stupid, also please leave a comment.
Yep.
All attention is great attention on these apps. Please like, comment, subscribe. Give us a follow on Twitter if you haven't. We post a lot over there. Give us a subscribe on YouTube. Go follow us on Spotify or anything if you're listening audio only. But yeah, it's been great to talk again. We're going to come back next week probably with another camp update episode and also a preview of the Blue Jays, who obviously we don't like.
Yeah.
So
this is where it starts to get exciting. Like the Orioles could be dangerous or whatever, but the Red Sox and the Blue Jays, the top of the AL East is going to be a dogfight. And
we don't like the Orioles, but we hate the Blue Jays.
Yeah.
So
especially after last year.
Yeah.
But
fuck those guys.
Whatever, dude.
Fucking Canada. Speaking of which, go Team USA. World Baseball Classic. We love our boy, Captain Judge.
Thanks for your 55 pitches today, Tarek.
Is he pitching today?
Oh wait, no. When's the Great Britain game?
I don't know, dude.
Whenever that is.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Scott Boras, go fuck yourself. We love the union though on this pod.
We do.
We'll see you later.
Thanks for listening. See you next week.